is joining us to tell us more about the successes of the Women's Voice and Leadership Nigeria project. Funded by Global Affairs Canada, is the Executive Director, Childcare and Adult Protection Initiative, Mrs. Evelyn Oti. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ladies.
So tell us about Childcare and Adult Protection Initiative, CCAP. What exactly do they do?
Okay, Child Care Protection Initiative, and the acronym is CAPI. We work with vulnerable women and children, basically. It was actually a childhood dream, which I started in 2016, thereabout. And then we proceeded and got registered in 2011. So since then, we've worked with different partners, and Actionaid Nigeria is our current partner, and we are being funded by Global Affairs Canada. So in childcare, we advocate for women. We try to speak against abuse on women, and we work with empowerment, empowering the women. So what we do in CAPI is that we use empowerment as a tool, that's women economic empowerment and economic justice, as a tool to address gender-based violence amongst women and girls living in the communities. Thank you.
Okay, could you tell us, is it possible for you to give us a little context on the economic situation of women in Cross River just before the inception of the Women's Voice and Leadership Nigeria project?
Oh yeah, thank you very much for your question. Over the years, CAPI has worked with women in different categories and on different projects as well. So at the time we started, we realized that women who own small and medium-scale businesses, they don't go very far. And most times they struggle with their livelihood. So they struggle with things like exploitation of women-owned business. And that's when we have to talk about taxation, taxing the women in the marketplace. Meanwhile, what they're selling doesn't yield profit. So at the end of the day, the little we empower them with ends up in high taxation. So we decided to collaborate with the government. We work with Nigeria's Promotion Council. We also work with Board of Internal Revenue Service, that's IRS, to see how taxation can be reduced amongst the women. And we can't leave out Ministry of Commerce, which we have worked with over the years, to see that the women have good income and can actually enjoy their profits. We are not saying women should not pay taxes. Of course, women should pay taxes. Every income earner in Nigeria is meant to pay their taxes, but they shouldn't be exploited. That's a way of working out what the women should pay, and this should be known to the women. Because when we started our advocacy up to the state government, we were told that what is being collected in the local government, level is not approved by the state government. So we had to look at this. Thank you.
Okay, so what are some of the immediate results from the actions taken by your NGO and the government? Because I'd seen that you'd mentioned some collaborative work that have gone on. So what are the immediate steps and the interventions that the women are currently experiencing as a result of the work that you do?
Okay, yes. So for us to actually yield good results, we couldn't work alone. So thanks to Actionaid, we were permitted or allowed to work with community-based organizations on the project. That's another part of the project, the WVL project, the Women's Voice and Leadership Nigeria project. So working with the CBOs, we could find out what was going on in various communities, in various local governments. So we work with the community-based organizations that are domiciled in these communities, understand what the issues are, and then from there, we work to solve the problem. For instance, in Bakassi local government, there were issues of young girls being exploited or harassed in the marketplace, because most times when they come for these taxes, the girls, the women are unable to pay. So most times their goods are being seized, and then they face other forms of abuse. So based on this project, we're able to create awareness. We did awareness creation, there was sensitization, and we also work with tax justice platform in Cross River State for the government to understand that, hey, these women are being exploited. Harassment should not come in place at all when collecting taxes from the women. and the young girls. So far, there have been some results whereby the state government in Cross River State has actually looked into this. So in some communities, like the Bekwara local government, for instance, we worked with the tax master to see that the women have now paid less tax compared to what they were taxed before. And in Ugea local government, we actually had interaction with some of the women, the Gary sellers and all of that. So they said to us that they were charged sometimes multiple hundred nairas in a day. So sometimes they could pay up to 500 naira or 300 naira or even more in a day. So due to the awareness creation and the advocacy by the project, that has been reduced to, I think, 100 naira a day, but we are still trying to advocate to see that that 100 naira should be reduced to what they are actually meant to pay. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you already mentioned the people you've been able to collaborate with, but I'd like to find out from you in the area of funding small businesses that are owned by women, that is in creating this environment that is enabling them to thrive economically. What would you say the government should do? Like, how would you like the government to play? What role would you want them to play?
Okay, yes. Right now, the government is actually, the Cross River State government is actually working towards reduction of tax. I mean, reducing the tax further, although the women are already enjoying that peaceful environment in the marketplace. They're not being harassed. Yes, the tax is being reduced, but the government, we are still trying to push, working in collaboration with the government to see that these taxes are reduced further. However, there are other areas that needs to be looked into. One of it is free interest loan, if possible, and then grants for those women. In CAPI, on the WVF project, we were able to provide startup items for the young girls and the women who learned in our skill acquisition centers. However, we lack funds most times to give them to grow their business. So if the government can come in here, I think it will go a long way to improve on their livelihood. So if that platform of free interest loan or grants can be given to the women to encourage them in their businesses, and also further trainings, because apart from giving them startup items, we also try to provide financial literacy trainings for the women to understand how to manage their business and still yield profit and make progress. Back in those days, we would hear women empowerment, whereby items are just being given to the women, no monitoring, nothing is done. At the end of the day, the women still go back to the same poverty line they were. So we are trying to see where progress will be made over time by their life, that's by the women themselves. So if the government can come in there to see how these women can be helped financially, because that's that's one of the major gaps we actually discovered on the project. So I think for me.
Okay.
Okay, so if we were to talk numbers and reach and successes of the Women's Voices and Leadership Project in Nigeria, what would you say are the notable changes and impact that this has brought to Cross River State?
Okay, yes, one of it is the reduction in tax, and I'm so happy that almost on a weekly or monthly basis, I see some circulars from the government of Cross River State, addressing issues around tax and efforts made in that area. So that's one outstanding success story there. And then for the community-based organizations we've worked with, most of them now understand how or why women should be empowered and why women should come together to speak against abuse of women. So the women themselves now take responsibility by themselves to speak for themselves in various communities. Take for instance in Bakassi local government and even in Bekwara and down to Obudu local government where we have worked, the women form groups. There's this collaborative efforts to see that their fellow women are helped in the community. In the local government, we have the community-based organization that's speaking on widows' rights. I mean, these are communities whereby after the death of the man, the widow is no longer entitled to anything that concerns the man, and she suffers with the number of children left behind for her to cater for. So now, due to this project, the women have been able to get back their farmlands. They've been empowered by the project to improve on their livelihood and also send their children to school. So for us, those are some of the outstanding success stories that we can share. Actually, there are a lot more. Another one I should mention is our partnership with Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Before now, we had few women considering exports, considering going into the export market. But over time, there have been a series of trainings based on the project. We partner with NPC and have trained the women how to use their local resources, produce them, have them nicely packaged, and make them export ready.
Right.
And on the project still, CAPI was able to access one of the NEPC grants called EFPP, if I'm not mistaken, that's Export Facility Grants. We're able to access that, and that has also enabled us to commence our building project and improve on our shared butter products in the aspect of sustainability, where by the end of the project, CAPI can still stand on its own to support more women coming up in the community.
All right, I was going to ask about sustainability, but I think I'm glad you already touched on that. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all that's been done by CAPI, and I'm happy that the women are getting so much benefits from these programs and initiatives. Well done to you, Mrs. Evelyn, Oti, and the entire team.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.